Good day, everyone. My name is Darby Lee, and today I'm going to report to you the importance of transportation. Now let's proceed to the PowerPoint presentations for the topic.
So the topic that I'm going to discuss to you is importance of transportation, which includes the subtopics of different modes of transportation, characteristics of road transport, scope of highway engineering. So let's talk about first transportation. Transportation encompasses the movement of goods and people from one point to another, as well as the many types of transportation employed. So the movement of people, animals, and things from one area to another is known as transportation. To put it in another way, a transport action is defined as a specific movement of an organism or item from point A to point B position. It's either by air, land, sea, cable, pipeline, and space. It is all modes of transportation. In some manner, all businesses activities are linked to transportation, and these conditions have a direct influence on operations and performance. Transportation systems are reliant on organizations to provide products and services on schedule. So there are different modes of transportation. There are three basic modes of transport, which are namely land transport, which is by land, water transport, which is through water, and transport, which is through air. Now let us discuss the four major modes of transportation. So first is road transportation or roadways. The most frequent of means of transportation will include modern highways, streets, village roads, and other routes of transportation. Transportation of moving animals or products from one area to another on land is known as land transport. So, road transport means transportation of goods and personnel from one place to the other on roads. Road is a route between two destinations which has been either paved or worked on to enable transportation by way of motorized and non-motorized carriage. There are many advantages of road transport in comparison to other means of transport. The investment required in road transport is very less compared to other modes of transport such as railways and air transport. The cost of construction, operating cost, and maintenance of roads is cheaper than of the railways and other modes of transportation. So next is rail transportation. Rail transportation is a means of moving people and goods along tracks using wheeled vehicles that ride on rails. So rail transport is also known as train transport. It is a means of transport on vehicles which run on tracks. So that includes rail or railroads. It is one of the most important, commonly used, and very cost-effective modes of commuting and goods carriage over long, as well as short distances. Since the system runs on metal or usually steel, rails and wheels, it has an inherent benefit of lesser frictional resistance which helps attach more loads in terms of wagons or carriage. So next is water transportation. The process of carrying people, freight, and mail by barge, boat, ship, or sailboat across a sea, ocean, lake, canal, or river, or by other kinds of water transportation is known as water transportation. It is a vital means of transportation. Water transportation is the most cost-effective way to carry large perishable items across great distances. This form of transport is mostly utilized for delivery of goods. So water transportation is the purposeful transfer of water across vast distances. There are three types of transportation available. Aqueducts include things like pipelines, canals, tunnels, and bridges. The technique of pulling an iceberg or a large water bag behind a tugboat is known as towing. So next is air transportation. Air transportation refers to the transfer of passenger and freight by any vehicle capable of continuous controlled flight. That includes airplanes, helicopters, hot air balloons, blimps, and gliders. So air transportation has become the primary means of common carrier traveling. So greatest efficiency and value are obtained when long distances are traveled. High valued payloads are moved, immediate needs must be met, or surface terrain prevents easy movement or significant raises transport costs. Although the time and cost efficiencies obtained decrease as distance traveled is reduced, air transport is often worthwhile even for relatively short distances. Air transportation also provides a communication or medical link, which is sometimes vital between the different groups of people being served. So let's just include the pipeline. Pipeline transportation is a form of transportation that includes transporting solid, liquid, or gaseous commodities through pipes across long distances. This form of transportation is mostly used to transport crude and processed petroleum products such as oil and natural gas. So, pipeline transportation is a method of transportation which involves movement of solid, liquid, or gaseous products over long distances through pipelines. This mode of transportation is mostly used of crude and refined petroleum products such as oil and natural gas. However, pipelines are also useful for transporting other fluids such as water, slurry sewage, and beer. Capsule pipelining using pneumatic tubes provides solution for transporting the solids in some cases. Now for the next topic is characteristics of road transport. So first, different types of road vehicles such as passenger cars, buses, lorries, two and three-wheeled autos, pedal cycles, and animal-drawn vehicles are utilized on the roads. Railway tracks, on the other hand, are only used by rail locomotives and carriage, whereas waterways are only utilized by ships and boats. Next, the government just need to invest a little amount of money on road transportation. So, motor vehicles are significantly less expensive than rail locomotives and wagons, as well as water and air carriers, as well as airlines. Roads are also less expensive to build and maintain than railway tracks, docks, harbors, and airports. So this just means that road transport is a less expensive way in transportation than other kinds of transport. Road transport gives route users total flexibility to move their cars from one lane to another and from one road to another based on their needs and convenience. Other forms of transportation lack flexibility of changing location, direction, pace, and durations of journey. So we can really say that road transportation is for the convenience of the public. It is not the same as other forms of transportation because the flexibility in other modes of transportation, especially in the rail transport, is that it is only one way. And for the air transport, water transport, it is not that flexible because it is by water and air and not that the same as road transport where you can see different network or road links available. So next is road transportation saves time, especially for short distance trips. Trains stop for a longer period of time at intersections and important stops. Next, the severity of an accident is directly proportional to the speed of movement. When increasing speed dispersion, road safety declines. Because of the freedom of movements available to the road, to the user, road transportation has a high rate of accidents. So derailments of railway locomotives and planes as well as plane disasters are widespread. They are in reality far worse. Lastly, the sole mode of transportation available to the whole town is road transportation. So now for scope of highway engineering, first let's talk about the first phase, development, planning, and locations. So in this phase, this is where conducting of historical backgrounds of locations as basis for planning, which includes engineering surveys and highway alignments. Next, for second phase, highway design, geometrics, and structures. In this phase, this is where they plan design, geometrics, and structure of the road, which includes all design factors as well as the drainage systems. For the third phase, traffic performance and its control. In this phase, this is where the analysis of traffic, which will lead to new road links. This also includes the analysis for traffic regulation as to where it can develop for future traffic demands, as well as for the road signs and markings. For the fourth phase, materials construction and maintenance. In this phase, this is where the construction of the roads is conducted and discussion of materials to be used as well as for its maintenance for future purposes. Lastly, for economics, finance, and administration, in this last phase, this is where the analysis of economic and road user costs of highway projects. This also includes the types of pavements used in order to know its maintenance cost. So that would be all for the topic. Once again, thank you and goodbye.